Welcome back to the Rambling Ram. I am Keller Strauss, and today with me I have Levi Blair, who is a junior. Levi, you've lived in 7 cities throughout your life, states.
Yeah.
Um, what's it like to be moving? You are still fairly young. What's it like to move around so much when you are young, still getting to know people? What's that like?
Well, you mentioned getting to know people. That's the entire problem, really, is getting to know people. Because for me anyway, this is the life that I've known for all of, that's all me. Like, all I've known is every 2 to 3 years, maybe 4 years, if I'm lucky, I'm going to move somewhere else to a new city, to a new state, and I'm going to leave behind all my friends and all the people that I've met. And for me, that just really makes it difficult to get out there, I suppose, and like do things because it's hard to fight those thoughts that are like, what's the point if you're not going to be here anyway? And then there's also the part of me that's like into high school in my freshman year here. Um, I'm walking into a place where everybody seems to know each other and everybody seems to have their pre-established
Or
group of friends. And that's a hard thing to like permeate, I think, as an outsider almost.
sure thing.
Um, it it's it's been difficult, but it's also all I've known. So I don't have a great frame of reference for like what the other experiences really are.
And are you staying in St. Louis, or are you going to move again in a handful of years?
Well, I'm gonna move for college, which like most people do
Sure.
that. So like that's the regular move that a lot of people do.
Yep.
The plan is to finish high school here, and assuming nothing goes wrong with my parents' jobs, that it seems to be going well.
Yep.
So I'm happy to be finishing high school here, and I'm like, it's been. I noticed a shift, like right when I first moved here compared to everywhere else that I've lived, is like I really feel like I'm becoming myself and like doing the things that I think are fun and I want to do and meeting the people and hanging out with the people that I really enjoy. It's made like a big difference on me as to mature as a person, knowing that I actually do have some sense of finality here.
Yeah. So when you came to St. Louis, you came freshman year, correct?
Yeah.
You came freshman year. You are used to going to a school, maybe making some friends, but knowing it's going to be short term. When you come to a school knowing you're not going to move, what was your mentality? How do you have to change that mentality from what you were used to?
Um, well, part of that is it's kind of like a combined mentality of growing up from I know I'm gonna be here, and combined with like all the stuff of high school and getting ready for college and all the exams and everything. And also a third part that is kind of being an only child because my older brother went to college right when we moved here. So it's like all three of those kind of combined into a sense of like it's just me now in my life, and like that's what my parents are really focusing on. That's like it kind of allowed me to, as I kind of said before, grow into my own sense of self. And like in terms of my brother moving away, obviously he was the one person beforehand that, other than my parents, who I was always with.
Yep.
So it's kind of like, as the younger brother, I kind of was like a shadow almost, or like I couldn't really develop myself without him being in on it in some way. And moving here and being a quote unquote only child has really just, I feel more like myself than I think I've ever felt in my life, just in terms of like how happy I am and the things that I'm pursuing and who I think I'm going to become when I'm even older now.
Mm. You mentioned going to college, right, is going to be your next move,
Right.
assuming things good. And this is a fairly normal move. Most people move when they go to college, even if it's like an in-state move. You're not going to be living with your parents anymore, hopefully,
Yeah.
for most people. You're trying to go. You're trying to grow and become that adult you want to be. A lot of people, this is their first time leaving this group of people they've known. You have seniors this year who are going to Boston. Maybe there's a couple others that are going to Boston, but they're going to leave. All their friends are going to other parts of, the states. That's not what a lot of people are used to. When you're used to being able to quickly, make friendships and that sort of fluidity with where you live, how's that going to impact you moving to college?
Well, I wouldn't say I make friends quickly. Um, just from my own personality, I'm always more of a shy type and introverted, and I don't talk to people as easily as my older brother did, which is part of the reason that I had trouble growing into my own self because he was a
Hmm.
people person and I wasn't. But like with you mentioned with the seniors leaving, it's like I'm so sad that a couple of my senior friends are leaving, but I also am like it doesn't feel like I'm displaying those emotions very well. Like I almost have to force myself to feel them in a way
Hmm.
because it's like I'm so hard coded to just knowing what leaving is like that I don't really feel it anymore, which kind of scares me. Which is also why I feel like I have to force myself to feel like that. Um, yeah.
One thing some people think of when they're picking where to go to college, where are people I know going? Where's, my significant other going? Does that just not affect you considering you're able to move with it?
No, yeah, it doesn't affect me. I know I'm gonna miss my friends, and I'm hoping that I will get chances to see or meet with them in the future when stuff is happening. But I also know that I can easily, or not, I guess not easily, but more easily than
You can
others,
pull with it.
do do what I need to do for me and go where is best for me personally without having some sort of outside influence.
So, if you're moving to Ladue and you're a new student, what was the hardest part about coming into specifically Ladue? Not in general, but compared to the other schools you moved to, what about Ladue was difficult?
Um, I always am surprised by the like amount of focus that like the high schools you go to and the elementary schools you go to. I'm always surprised by the amount of like influence and importance that has on people here. Like when I talk to adults, and like going to church and stuff,
Hmm.
and there's like jokes about, oh, what high school did you go to? And like
Sure.
it's like a big thing here for some reason that I don't really understand is what high school you went to. Or like the seniors go to the elementary school that they went to take like senior photos.
Hmm.
And I just don't have that because my elementary school is in South Carolina,
That,
in
that,
Virginia.
that was
So like,
so hard to do.
yeah, that's a lot harder to go and take a picture of just me by myself in my Ludo cap. Um,
Sure.
so I think it's just like pe- there's a much bigger sense of community here about schools than I think other places I've been had, which also might just be like a high school thing because now
Yeah,
actually adults can kind of explore that.
sure. Is that beneficial when you're moving to St. Louis? When you're moving to other places, there's not a lot of community kind of thing, like you said, and to make it possibly harder to do. Does that make moving to St. Louis easier or is it harder?
Um, Probably bits of both, I would say. It's definitely not easy being an outsider, which like I don't like using that term, but that's kind of what
Definitely.
I is what I am. Um, but it also like I feel if I f- it's hard to put into words. I feel like I've made a place for myself here as a part of this community
Yeah.
more so than I have anywhere else, and it feels more like home than anywhere else that I've lived and I can remember. Um, so it would be bits of both because like breaking through like the membrane of community is more difficult, but once you're through, it feels more satisfactory and like calming to me.
Sure. You've been here for 3 years now. How do you feel your social life is now that you have gotten a chance to grow into yourself? You've gotten a chance to be in this community, learn about St. Louis and Ladue. How do you feel your social life is now?
It's much better than it's ever been for sure.
Good.
Um, I think as a kid, I always had trouble just doing stuff and meeting people and taking that like first step that everyone's always talking about when you're trying something new. And I've done that more here than I think I've ever done in my life. Like I joined Ultimate Frisbee. I'm doing so much band stuff, like the musical, and I'm like tutoring kids in chess. I'm just doing more, which obviously leads to meeting more people
Yeah.
and making more connections. So I just feel like it's definitely much better than it has ever been.
Are those extracurriculars that are, a way for you to make these connections? Ladue has a lot of them. We have a lot of funding. We have a lot of extracurriculars. If you want to do something like this, it gets done, right? I want to make a podcast. I go to someone, boom, we have a podcast. Ladue students might not know what that's like to do something like that in a different school district in a different state. Is that feasible? Do other high schools have the same level of extracurriculars as Ladue?
From what I've seen, definitely not. This school is kind of crazy in all of the stuff that it does, and it's like best public school in the state, right?
Yep.
So it makes sense that it's going to have all of these opportunities and all of this funding for stuff for people to do. Um, I mean, this is the only high school I've actually gone to, so I can't say for sure. But based on like my older brother, I definitely know that he had less to do than me, but also he was much more of a joiner than I was. So it's like he found stuff to do regardless.
Sure. You mentioned joining a handful of things. You mentioned joining Ultimate Frisbee, doing pit for band. Can you tell me a little bit more about how, each of those things has really helped you, gain community and gain just a place in St. Louis?
Yeah. Um, I would say music has been like the biggest thing for me so far in making friends and community. It's like my first day in school in freshman year is always the scary one. It's always the I don't know anyone. I have to go ask someone meekishly who to sit with and who to eat lunch
Yep.
with. And then I walk into the band room on that first day and I felt at home and I felt like this feels right. Um so just having that space is important to me.
Yep.
And Pitt is an extension of that. My brother did theater, so I've always kind of like gone to the shows and stuff and I'm like that looks really cool. Cuz I don't want to be on stage. I still want to be part of like the art
Theater
form, the
community.
theater community and the art form and the process of making the show. and also I'm playing awesome music, hopefully. Um, and it was like doing pit was kind of like a dream in middle school when I was playing trumpet and just like really starting to pick up the instrument and learning it for the first time. And I'm like, I want to play in pit one day. And then I finally get the chance in my sophomore year. I played
Mm,
during the prom, and that just like not only did my trumpeting improve drastically, but it also was just so fun having that little tight knit community of like
absolutely.
throwing each other snacks and talking
Yeah.
during breaks and standing on the chairs to see what's happening on stage. Um, and then for Ultimate Frisbee this year, I have a lot of friends who are already in it. Um, and I told myself I want to be outside more. I want to do something with exercise again because I haven't really gone outside as much as I probably should have. Um, and I'm like, Ultimate Frisbee would be, it's not demanding to the point of like I have to relearn this entire sport and get so good at it like I would for have
Yeah.
to like soccer or baseball or football. I played baseball when I was younger and I love it so much and I still wish I could go back and play it, but it's not like I can just pick up a glove or pick up a bat and instantly be on the team.
Sure.
I can do that for Ultimate Frisbee. Um and it's improved my health, it's improved my eating, which I've always needed to improve, even though I think I'm doing pretty good at it anyway. Um, it's improved just like I'm out in the sun more, which is good.
Mm,
Just I kind of was a shut-in, or not shut-in, but like I wouldn't go outside if I didn't need to.
sure.
And now I feel like I can go outside more.
When you were doing theater, you mentioned getting to have that tight knit community and work with the theater community. If you're in the pit for a musical, what is the interaction like between the pit and the actors and actresses on stage?
I I wish there was more. Um, I don't think the actors give us enough credit, which might sound self-absorbed and
No, I
entitled.
work on set, same thing.
Yeah, fair. I don't think the actors really give anyone enough credit. Which I don't know if that's like an actor problem or just specifically. That's a
It's just a
slippery slope to get into.
general stereotype. I think.
General stereotype. Um, it's because like I they have to. It's so I want to see. Okay, I'm putting this poorly. So when we're in the pit, we can't actually see what's going on stage. We have to stand on our chairs and like peer over to just see the very front of the stage, and just who's up there. And half the time we can't do that anyway because we have to play the music. So I want to see what's actually happening on stage because like I've got a couple friends up there who have like interesting parts or like I want to see what the choreography is or what they're doing while we're playing or how we're playing sounds on the recording. And the actors are getting the emails of like photos and videos of the show and all of that. And the pit doesn't get that. Or at least I didn't get that. And I assume no one else in the pit got that. And maybe they don't care that they don't have it, but I care and I kind of want it
Or
because I want to see it.
if you're working in theater, no matter what, you probably like theater.
Yeah, so like I want to see what's happening on stage and I just can't because I'm not part of the email. And it's like that's just an example of like there's kind of a separation of even though we're all part of the same show, there's just we're not actually there almost.
Yeah. How would you fix it? If you have a problem, you have to have a way to fix it. So, what do you think is the solution for Ladue Theater to keep the pit involved for the musicals?
Um I mean I feel like it's pretty simple. It's just give them more information, give them more inclusion of whatever is going on. Like we were invited to the after party. and we got that email, but it was like forwarded from our pit director, I believe. And
Hmm.
but it's like I want the emails. I want the I mean I don't want every email, but I want like
Yeah, trust me, you do not want to ever eat.
I want just like the overall like this is what's happening. This is what anyone needs to know. Or hey, like we're gonna do this all together. And it's just like
Yeah,
there's that, and there's also just like I definitely think both the actors and the pit could reach out to each other a little more. Um, I would put more of it on the actors to have that part, just because like
they're the
they're
ones that had the information already.
well they're the ones who have the information already, but they're also like the centerpiece, right?
Yeah,
So they're the ones who are being affected by all the set and all the
yeah,
pit and all the costumes, and like they're the um
they're the ones.
they're the middle of the like a array of webs
Mm-hmm.
that is theater. So I feel like
Well,
most of that work should go to the actual actors and like building more of the community of theater rather than having these offshoots that kind of all
sure.
come together for a little bit and then split off again.
I know Mr. Lady is in the theater Google Classroom, right? So he's able to see those things. Would it be beneficial to have members of the pit be added, at least during the time of the musicals? Or would that be something that you would not be interested in?
I think I personally would be interested in that because I generally just like
Something
knowing what's going
confidence.
on. Yeah, I generally just like to know what's going on. And I also know that there are some members of the pit who don't really care for that. Um and like that's fine, but for me I would want to be included in that.
Sure. On an entirely unrelated topic. Um, anyone that knows you knows you're a big Cubs fan. So you're wearing a Cubs shirt right now.
Yeah, I think I make it pretty
So
clear.
you're living in St. Louis. Being a Cubs fan in St. Louis is a very risky endeavor. So you have to have a reason. So what's your reason?
Um well, first of all, it's the proximity to Chicago. I'm the closest to my birth town than I've ever been before, other than living in it, obviously. Um, but like a 4 or 5 hour drive is short compared to what would have been when I was living on the East Coast or in Texas. Um, so it's just the proximity has made me feel like a bit more homey about it. Um, I think it's also just it starts conversation with people. Like there's this one guy in band who our entire friendship is built off of insulting each other's teams. Um, and that's just really fun. And that's how we've become friends. Or like I can walk in the hallway and someone could say, "Cubs suck" or "Go Cubs," and it's like, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So just like again is building my own spot in that community almost.
Yeah.
Of like, even though I'm not a Cardinals fan, I'm still like I'm kind of my own guy here, you know.
Yeah. Are you a fan of other Chicago sports teams or is it mostly baseball?
I mean, I mostly care about baseball. I like the Bears for football, and like I don't really care about the Blackhawks. Honestly, I like the Blues more than them. Um, so I'll give St. Louis that one. Because we never went to hockey games before here, so
Yeah.
it's like yeah. Uh, and I just don't really care about basketball at all. But Michael Jordan is cool, so
That's fair.
W rings.
Um, I'm a Duke fan, which makes that really tough to hear. Um, so you were born in Chicago. You've lived in more places than Chicago and St. Louis. So where have you lived?
So the list is Chicago, then we moved to San Diego in California, then was San Antonio in Texas, um, then Beaufort, South Carolina, Virginia Beach, which is in Virginia. Whoa.
Oh yeah.
Uh, um, Bethesda, Maryland, and then finally here.
Where was your favorite?
That's hard to say because my memory is really shoddy of about 5 of the 7 of them. So, I will say here, just because again, it feels more like home than anywhere else, I think. But I also just don't remember Chicago. I don't remember California. I have fleeting memories of Texas and South Carolina, so, like,
Sure.
it's hard to put a name to one of them.
COVID happened a few years back.
Oh.
Where were you when COVID happened?
So that's funny. We were in the middle of a move, or gonna move when COVID happened. We
Lovely.
were living in Virginia Beach, and I finished 5th grade, shortened because of COVID. And then that summer, finishing 5th grade and going into middle school, we moved. So I did all of middle school. We moved to Bethesda, Maryland.
Right.
I did all of middle school, or all of 6th grade online. And then 7th grade happened, and that was probably the hardest year for me just ever because it's the expectation of being a 7th grader when you've only done 6th grade online and you also don't know anybody and also everyone's friends, and you're also just this new kid whose face was the only one online because I was a good kid.
Mm-hmm.
um
Just makes that process of, getting acclimated even harder.
it was 7th grade was really bad. But 8th grade I did have a nice group of friends.
If you don't mind me asking, why were you moving around so much?
My dad was in the Navy, so
So,
yeah.
did you ever have an idea of where you were going to be going next? Or was it really truly, hey guys, 1 month and we're leaving?
It's not like 1 month and we're leaving. It's probably 4 to 6 months and we're leaving. Uh, but yeah, we did not know where we were going. We thought and sometimes we thought we were going to move to Japan or we thought we were going to move to Seattle we had no idea.
Sure. Um, so coming to St. Louis or going to any new school, you're gonna have to acclimate, you're gonna have to get to know people. If you had one takeaway of how to acclimate to that new environment, what would it be?
I think you just got to force yourself to do stuff. Um, it's not necessarily about I have to walk up to this person and talk to them, but it's I have to go join this club or this team or
Mhm.
this organization, whatever it is. You have to join something, and that's kind of what's going to build that uh group for you, and you're going to find your people there, I think.
So, you sounds like your advice. Someone's coming into Ladue or going to a new school, joining clubs. If, say, there's a Ladue student that's maybe moving next year to a new school outside of Ladue, where maybe that, this club space that we have here, this ability to join sports that we have here doesn't exist, like you said. Not everywhere has the same kind of amount of stuff as Ladue has. So, in that situation, what was your go-to move when you weren't able to join that club?
Um, well, I was never good at joining clubs anyway. I kind of had to learn that, but I was never good at it. I was never really good at any of it. I just kind of sat in class as the quiet kid, and eventually I would get adopted by an extrovert is what
Yeah.
is usually gonna happen. Um, and that sort of happened here almost. Uh, I had more of a part in it, but I did get adopted by extroverts. So I think I just got kind of lucky.
Yeah.
uh, it's hard to say exactly what is best to do for that, just because everyone's gonna have their different comfortability of going up and talking to people or making small talk in class. Um, I would say making small talk in class is probably the next best way to uh meet people because most people are pretty nice, I think. And most people would be willing to talk with you or have a conversation with you. Um, so hopefully you just get seated next to someone nice you can talk to, I guess.
Um, well, thank you for your time.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming on. And my name is Rico Strauss. This is the Rambling Ram, and we'll see you next week.